Incredible discovery. Single dad janitor reveals hidden health issue that saved billionaire son. Jack's hands trembled slightly as he wiped down the lab counter, his mind racing with thoughts that cascaded like the chaos in his heart. Another evening shift at the university, another cycle of reducing the sterile environment within those stark white walls. The fluorescent lights hummed, almost drowning out the echoes of Lucy's laughter that still lingered in the quiet corners of his mind. She was his treasure, his reason to keep pushing through the pain of losing his wife. But tonight, the hum felt heavier, as if the universe itself were adding to the weight bearing down on him. Then, as fate would have it, his routine cleaning brought unintended discovery. Tucked away beneath stacks of slides and forgotten samples, he spotted a loosely bound document. Amid his mundane work, his curiosity piqued, and he pulled it from its neglect. The details jumped out. A coded health data profile, hints of experimental treatments hidden within. Jack's heart raced, not just from the urgency of his ongoing tasks, but from an exhilarating sense of hope. This discovery could hold answers, something vital that could mean life or death for someone. But whose life was in jeopardy? Glancing nervously around the empty lab, Jack found himself staring at his own dilemma. Could he even begin to understand this complex data? He hesitated, anxiety gnawing at him. He felt small, just a janitor, a single father wading through the stormy tide of loss and responsibility, grappling with daily burdens and the nagging fear that he'd never make it. What did he know about treatments or coding? What if he reached out only to fail? Would he be looked down upon, dismissed? What could I possibly offer? He whispered under his breath, his muscles tensed, wrestling with self-doubt. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. The analysis began. Yet, as Jack parsed through the data with limited tools and a racing mind, images of Ethan Wallace plagued him, an affluent teenager from a world starkly different than his. Desperation radiated off the boy's family, colorful brochures of private health facilities that had yielded no answers to the illness that held Ethan captive. This catastrophic rift between their socioeconomic realities felt paralyzing. Jack clenched his fists, his thoughts cycling from determination to dread. If this data revealed any insights, would it bring hope or judgment? And then chaos struck. In a moment that twisted his heart, Lucy rushed in, late for her school presentation, her face a mixture of eagerness and worry. "Dad, oh no!" In her haste, she lost her footing and collided with Jack. The whirl of limbs and panic saw her tumble. But it wasn't just her fall that gripped Jack with suffocating anguish. What if something terrible happened as he pondered this algorithm while she was in need? His mind was a battleground. He could share this vital information, possibly saving a life, but expose himself to ridicule, caught between his love for Lucy and the nagging fear of what it meant to reach across the chasm that divided him from wealth and privilege. Jack felt the abyss of doubt open beneath him. Every ounce of his resolve teetered on the brink. Truth collided with societal prejudice, leaving him gasping for air, grieving for consideration as he faced a pivotal decision. But with the weight of uncertainty thick against his chest, Jack couldn't shake the resolve to reach out. The clock was ticking down on a boy's life that danced in tandem with the fragile heart of his own daughter's safety, making him question if he could be the hero this moment demanded. But heroics have a cost. Would he pay it? As he stood at the precipice of destiny, the air crackled with urgency, his very choice echoing the profound question: can one man's courage breach the divide in an unforgiving world? Jack stood frozen in the sterile lab, the vibrant chaos of Lucy's fall stamped indelibly in his memory. His daughter, his spark, vulnerable on the floor, shattered the illusion that he could keep her entirely safe. Moments flickered through his mind, her laughter echoing in simplistic warmth, the pride in her voice when she spoke of her dreams. But now those memories swirled in a tempest of fear and uncertainty, demanding that he choose between his own insecurity and the possibility of saving a life. Resilience flickered deep within him. The data before him could illuminate a path, sparking hope not just for Ethan, but for Lucy as well. They lived in a world stacked against them, mirroring the great divide between Jack's existence and that of the Wallaces. He felt anchored by love, yet adrift in the currents of fear. This was more than a chance to help. It was an opportunity to redefine the limits set upon him. Could a janitor's intuition, a father's love, break the surface of life's harsh reality? The urge to grasp the document intensified. He hastily stuffed it into the front pocket of his coveralls, feeling the weight of it press against his heart. Before he could second-guess himself further, he glanced at Lucy, still shifting her weight in anticipation. "Dad, I need—" But Jack turned away, urgency overwhelming his sense of normalcy. "Go, I'll be right there," he hurriedly instructed, his words firm and commanding. As he entered, the grandeur of the space momentarily disarmed him, a stark contrast to the simplicity of his own life. The walls adorned with accolades and framed photographs of Ethan's milestones felt like a gallery of a world he hadn't known. He could hear muffled voices, anxious and strained, as he made his way into the living room, where Kate Wallace stood with Dr. Reynolds. "Jack, there you are," Kate said, her eyes lighting up with a mix of gratitude and desperation. "Thank you." Jack nodded, but his heart raced with the urgency of the situation. What insight could a janitor provide to such accomplished individuals? Doubts and questions wormed through his mind as he sat down across from them. Dr. Reynolds wasted no time. "Kate believes we may have overlooked some relevant data regarding Ethan's condition, something that could completely change his treatment protocol. Jack, we need your perspective since, well, you are the one who's dived deeper into this recent research." The words struck him, igniting a flicker of recognition within. He had been poring over the papers in the lab, unraveling mysteries buried beneath complex terminology and illustrations. This chance wasn't just about Ethan. It was about his own growth. The evidence that he hadn't just been cleaning floors, but engaging with a new reality. "What exactly do you think we're missing?" Jack questioned, pushing down the wave of self-doubt that threatened to overtake him. Kate leaned in closer, her urgency turning into determination. "We might need to revisit the results from the last clinical trial. I've noticed inconsistencies, particularly regarding the symptoms displayed in the test group. I think it might align with something that Ethan experienced." As she spoke, Jack's mind spun with the fragments of information he had gathered, the connections he had made in those frantic late-night study sessions. For the first time, he felt that he wasn't just contributing, but was pivotal in forming a bridge between the data and the real-world application that could save a life. "What exactly do you think we're missing?" Jack questioned, pushing down the wave of self-doubt that threatened to overtake him. Kate leaned in closer, her urgency turning into determination. "We might need to revisit the results from the last clinical trial. I've noticed inconsistencies, particularly regarding the symptoms displayed in the test group. I think it might align with something that Ethan experienced." As she spoke, Jack's mind spun with the fragments of information he had gathered, the connections he had made in those frantic late-night study sessions. For the first time, he felt that he wasn't just contributing, but was pivotal in forming a bridge between the data and the real-world application that could save a life. "You may be right. I noticed something too," Jack found himself saying, feeling the subtle thrill of adrenaline as he recalled the details. "In the data sets, the biochemical markers for Ethan's condition don't align with the expected outcomes. It could mean that we're treating symptoms rather than the underlying cause." Silence enveloped the room. Kate's eyes widened. "You're suggesting we might be missing a critical diagnosis. If true, this could change everything for Ethan." Jack's pulse quickened as he felt their attention shift toward him. For the first time, he was not just an observer. He was contributing valuable insights. No, he was essential. But the gnawing fear of inadequacy still wormed its way into his thoughts. What if he was wrong? What if he led them down the wrong path? "Jack," Dr. Reynolds.
"Jack," Dr. Reynolds interjected gently. "If you're correct, this could save lives. Not just Ethan's, but potentially many others. Are you prepared to take this further?" The question struck him fundamentally. This was not merely a research project. This was a life-altering chance, a pivotal moment that demanded a level of accountability he had never faced before. Could he be the catalyst for change they had been hoping for? Could he finally step out of the shadows of menial work and discover the man he was meant to become? "I can help," Jack declared, the weight of resolve settling on his shoulders. "But I need to explore the data further tonight. I have a few ideas I want to test." "Then let's make this happen," Kate replied, a spark of hope lighting up her expression. As they began poring over the numbers, Jack's analytical mind shifted gears, digging deeper into the abyss of information laid before him. The sound of clattering keys and murmurs of agreement blurred into the background. He was in his element, purpose driving him. Hours melted away in the pursuit of understanding, but a persistent nagging whisper echoed. This was uncharted territory. The stakes had never been this high. Jack was racing against time. Then a revelation flickered in his mind, something he hadn't caught before, something that could turn the tide not only for Ethan, but for him as well. He froze, the realization striking him with clarity. What if he could prove that he belonged here, capable and competent? But the enormity of the task loomed large, and the question transformed from one of capability to sanity. Could he bear the consequences of failure? Jack paused, looking up at Kate and Dr. Reynolds, feeling their steady gaze on him, neither source of contempt nor skepticism, but rather expectant hope. This was the moment that loomed before him. "All of this hinges on what I find next," he whispered, heart pounding. "If this goes wrong, there could be severe repercussions." Yet, before he could spiral into the depths of his fear, he forced himself to exhale, channeling the fire ignited deep within. As they argued, the direction of the conversation turned toward that pivotal variable they had buried beneath layers of trials, revealing paths yet unexplored. Could this be the launchpad into a new reality for Jack? The time had come to face his inner doubts and question not just where he fit into this world, but who he could become. But as the pieces started to connect beautifully, another thought crept in, chilling him. What if the revelation he was on the brink of discovering would alter the lives of more than just Ethan? Jack's fingers danced over the keyboard, the familiar feel of the keys grounding him in a reality far removed from the swirling chaos of his mind. Each click was a reminder that he was in control, that he was navigating uncharted territory, and yet his heartbeat pulsed with a dissonant rhythm of anxiety and exhilaration.
He dove deeper into the datasets, scanning for patterns that might have escaped him before. Small discrepancies began to shimmer like gold nuggets in the intricate mess of numbers. Numerical anomalies that had once seemed trivial now glowed with significance. It was a revelation, a small promise of hope amidst a seemingly hopeless situation. "Jack, you got something?" Kate's voice broke through the haze, pulling him back from the verge of mental overload. He looked up to see both Kate and Dr. Reynolds leaning in, anticipation painted on their faces. The moment was surreal. Two accomplished professionals clinging to the insights of someone whose previous limitations seemed insurmountable. "I believe so. There's a correlation here between the genetic markers we might have dismissed and the symptoms Ethan is presenting. If we adjust the treatment to focus on the genetic level, it could lead to a breakthrough," Jack shared, his voice steadier than he felt. Kate's eyes widened further as she began processing what he proposed. Dr. Reynolds, however, was more measured in his response. "You realize the implications of this. If we act on this, we'll need to go public with our findings, which means risking scrutiny and accountability. Are you ready for that kind of exposure?" Jack inhaled sharply, the reality of their situation crashing over him like a wave. This was more than a chance to prove himself. It was a commitment that could lead to backlash if things went awry. What if he failed to deliver? What if the data was a mirage, leading them astray? The thoughts thundered in his mind, unrelenting. "Ready or not," he replied, meeting Dr. Reynolds' steady gaze. "Ethan needs us." Kate's voice broke through his clouded thoughts again, tinged with urgency. "Let's draft a proposal for a revised treatment plan. If we can get it past the ethics board, we might be able to initiate the new protocol based on your findings." Jack felt the prick of resolve within him, birthing a fierce determination he didn't know he possessed. The structure of his days had consisted of cleaning the things others overlooked. But now he was being invited to reframe the course of someone's life. This was not just about data. This was about hope. A tangible hope for Ethan, a beacon in the darkness. Hours turned into minutes as they worked. Minutes stretched impossibly long as Jack navigated the dual pressure of advancing Ethan's treatment and his own internal struggles. His mind swirled through risks and possibilities, but a singular drive anchored him. If he could get this right, he could prove his worth not just to them, but to himself. As he worked through the proposal with Kate, the coarse outlines of a complex narrative began to form. In the midst of their discussion, moments of self-doubt resurfaced. Flares of inadequacy that suggested he didn't belong, that the truth of his background would ultimately undo everything he was working toward.
The decision awaited him, echoing in the silent corners of his mind, begging for an answer. Jack sat in a small cafe near the university, the bustle of patrons forming a backdrop to his swirling thoughts. The news about the potential meeting with the investor hammered insistently in his mind. He knew this could change everything. He could finally push forward, elevate his work from mere ideas to tangible results. The stakes felt monumental. It wasn't just about funding anymore. It was about hope and the possibility of saving a life. As the steam from his coffee spiraled into the air, his fingers drummed lightly on the table, mirroring his racing heartbeat. He couldn't ignore the skepticism that clung to that thought. The inner voice nagged, questioning his qualifications, his worthiness. Was he ready to sit in the same room as someone whose financial influence could dictate the project's future? Jack took a deep breath and glanced around the cafe, observing the faces of those who appeared to thrive in their worlds, confident and assured. It reminded him of the researchers he had overheard dismissing him. Would they still see a janitor when they learned he had garnered the attention of potential investors? Or would they continue baking their judgments under the pretense of expertise? Their opinions once stirred self-doubt. Now they fueled his resolve. Images of Ethan flashed in his mind, the boy's hopeful eyes, the potential that lay untapped within him. This wasn't only Jack's dream. It belonged to that child and countless others who needed the advancements he hoped to propel. The memory of Ethan's face clenched Jack's heart and steered his thoughts, redirecting them inward. He recalled what Kate had said about courage being the ability to act despite fear. A flicker of determination sparked deep within him. He opened his notebook, filled with his research, each diagram and data point representing countless hours of toil and passion. This was where his true expertise lay, tangible and solid. He was learning to synthesize data, present concepts, and challenge assumptions. The meeting request might mean he had to stand before someone used to easy answers, polished presentations, and well-established credibility. But Jack knew that his journey, with all its raw edges, carried a truth they couldn't ignore: an authentic investment in human struggle. With renewed clarity, he envisioned what the meeting would look like. Would he display his research with the kind of clarity that could compel someone to step in, to advocate for Ethan? The nerves welled up again, but this time they sharpened his focus rather than clouding it. The investors' money could bring their shared vision to life, but it was Jack's unwavering belief that might turn the tide in the meeting. He began drafting key points he wanted to address, confident in his knowledge. But then a hollow knot of unease tightened in his stomach. What if they rejected his proposal outright? It wouldn't just be playbill, mas destino é uma realidade que fará de tudo para destacá-lo. A verdade de trás disso é uma verdade inabalável. O empenho é uma determinação maior, com níveis de talentos excepcionais, mas também uma força imparável para defender seus sonhos. As Jack concluded, The investor nodded slowly, but the finality of the meeting still loomed. Would this resonate deeply, or would it fade like the cloudy sky outside? As he exited the amphitheater, Jack was met with uncertainty. The shadows of doubt loomed, taunting him with questions about how the panel would ultimately judge his worth. But for the first time, he felt a sense of agency. He had spoken his truth. The real battle was leaving the room. The meeting was only a precursor to whatever came next. But now a new question weighed on him. If he might have actually found a way to turn this battle into a boon, how far would he be willing to fight for it? Jack walked away from the amphitheater, each step echoing both the thrill of expression and the weight of ambiguity. He replayed the investor's piercing question in his mind, dissecting his own performance like an athlete analyzing their last game. Had he leaned into his truth effectively enough? The self-scrutiny opened a well of insights. What if he hadn't just spoken about Ethan, but truly captured the emotional arc of a child's journey? As he navigated the bustling university corridors, thoughts raced faster than he could register them. The potential of his project surged forward, fueling both hope and fear. Jack recognized that he had indeed turned the presentation into a compelling discussion. But could he maintain that momentum outside the amphitheater's safety? Katie's lessons and the countless hours of research danced around him like persistent phantoms. He embraced those memories, allowing them to nourish his determination. He could mobilize his passion not just in front of panels, but wherever advocates and skeptics alike gathered. He realized he needed to stretch beyond his comfort, pushing against the confines of academia and into the realms of community engagement. He wandered into a nearby cafe, seeking a caffeine boost to match his adrenaline. As he waited for his coffee, he overheard snippets of conversation from a table nearby. Concerns about children in need, frustrations regarding bureaucratic red tape. Each phrase struck a chord within him, an invitation to connect those discussions with his research. There's a gap out there, he thought passionately, not just in funding, but in awareness. It struck him that while he had spoken about Ethan in the meeting, he could amplify those voices outside these walls, to those who share the care but lack the connection. Sipping his coffee, Jack's phone buzzed. An email from the investor flashed on the screen. Jack hesitated, heart racing anew, as he opened it. "Thank you for your presentation," it read. "I'm intrigued but would like to see a more detailed proposal comparing methodologies from both projects." A tight knot of anxiety gripped him. This was a response, but also a challenge. But instead of shrinking away, Jack felt his determination sharpen. The door was ajar. He needed to prepare. It was time to articulate precisely what differentiated his work. The promise of impact loomed larger now than it had just hours prior. Returning home, Jack set up a workspace filled with charts and maps. Yet, in the depths of strategizing, he recalled his earlier days. The sleepless nights as he balanced single fatherhood and his passion for advocacy kept bubbling to the surface. Those memories anchored him. The grind hadn't just birthed his project, it had molded his character. While building his proposal, he took particular care to incorporate the human stories, the triumphs, the challenges, the unfiltered dreams of children like Ethan. Each narrative infused his statistical data with meaning, transforming numbers into a clarion call for change. As he extracted quotes and testimonials, he recognized something profound.
His ability to merge personal experience with professional ambition was his greatest asset. Jack realized that the impact of his work lay in its authenticity. He wasn't just presenting research, he was crafting a narrative that resonated with those who had the power to facilitate real change. As he prepared to send off his proposal, a new sense of urgency gripped him. He had to ensure that this expression resonated at a deeper level beyond the surface of numbers and graphs. The moment felt pivotal, like crossing the threshold into a new phase of his life. And just as he clicked to send, his phone buzzed once more. This time, it was a message from a fellow advocate he hadn't spoken to in months. "We need to talk. The community awareness event is coming up soon. Would you consider sharing your work?" Jack hesitated. Standing in front of a crowd could invite vulnerability, but it also offered a connection. The question loomed larger than the previous day's challenges. Was he ready to step into the spotlight, or would fear still dictate his terms? An unsettling current of excitement coursed through him. This could be the defining moment that tested every ounce of courage he had summoned thus far. Jack stood backstage at the community event, the buzz of anticipation thrumming through the air. The audience was gathering, a blend of concerned parents, local advocates, and health professionals, all eager to hear about the developments in research and treatment for children like Ethan. This was it, a moment he had often envisioned but never fully believed he would encapsulate. A year prior, he had been simply a janitor, labeled by the world in stark, simplistic terms. But today, he was stepping into his new identity, ready to share the story that had become so intertwined with his own. As he stepped into the spotlight, the warmth of the stage lights caused beads of sweat to form on his forehead. But the familiar image of Ethan flashed in his mind and steadied his resolve. The reasons behind his drive became palpable. This was so just about data in research. This was about lives, about a child's future, and the larger possibility of hope coursing through every word he would speak. "Thank you for being here today," Jack began, his voice firm as he looked out at the sea of eager faces. "I'm here to share not just statistics, but the stories of children who deserve more than the odds they face. This is about Ethan and many others like him, who inspire us to push past challenges." He outlined the findings he had worked tirelessly to present, drawing parallels between numbers and their realities, the struggles of families fighting against the tide of bureaucracy and illness, and the hope that genuine scientific exploration can bring. He recounted how his life as a father had informed every aspect of his research, how every test result mirrored a heartbeat he felt in his own chest when he thought of Lucy's laughter and aspirations. As he spoke, he watched the audience lean in, their expressions shifting from skepticism to intrigue. He sensed the energy change, their collective breath caught in the promise of potential. And with each moment, he realized he was no longer just presenting. It was a dialogue forming, a connection that he had long wanted to forge. Then came the questions, but instead of fear, Jack embraced them. The inquiries about methodologies or alternative research proposals flowed easily from his lips, bolstered by the knowledge he had fought to acquire. The conversations turned collaborative, igniting a collective energy in the room.
Jack felt the door open wider, not just for Ethan, but for himself as well. The passion he infused into every answer was met with respect. The validation in their nods reinforced his understanding. He was capable, knowledgeable, and above all, necessary in this fight. When the event concluded, Jack stepped off the stage feeling different, transformed. The cheers, the camaraderie of the community, the connection he felt, and the gratitude reflected back at him marked a definitive point of growth. He had conquered self-doubt. No longer was he attached solely to a past defined by struggle. He was a voice for change, creating avenues for possibilities beyond himself. He walked out into the lobby, where numerous families approached him, expressing gratitude and sharing stories that wove into his heart. Their appreciation was palpable, and in that moment, Jack realized how vital it was to bridge his experiences with knowledge. His journey as a janitor had interwoven into this larger tapestry of advocacy. He was not only regarded as a figure in the scientific community, but as a pillar of hope. In the coming days, as requests for collaboration began flooding in and connections multiplied, Jack took deliberate steps in developing the discussions born out of that pivotal event.